and welcome to the Fab Lab on the Mocha Media Network. My name is Stephanie J, and this is my fabulous co-host,
Liz Everett.
And we are so excited to have you on today, and we can't wait to share all of the wealth of knowledge that we have to share today. We have a panel of industry experts that we are going to talk about all the new fashion headlines. And Liz, tell them about our interview guest.
We have an honest future king of fashion, Elliot Carlisle, with us. And he is the CFDA director for CFDA Connects. And so we're going to tell you all about his career, how he got into fashion, and so much more on this episode.
We have really enjoyed the last couple of episodes and the last couple of weeks with you guys. Liz, what have some of the highlights been for you?
Honestly, I'm just excited about all of the opportunities to help people elevate their style and also connecting them with the insider scoops on the fashion industry. It's such a great industry to be a part of, but often it's really hard for people to find out who are the, in the real insiders and who are the next people that are coming up in the industry. So that's what I love, not only about the last few episodes, but also about what's coming this season.
Absolutely. Some of my greatest moments and memories from what we've done so far are with our Fab Lab analysts on our panels. They've provided so much insight into the industry, and we've really enjoyed just having those candid conversations about what's going on within the industry and also, what people can take away from fashion into their regular lives, right, Liz?
Yes, that's a huge part of it. That's honestly why I love the back on the rack portion, is because we not only get to give you a little bit of insight about, what's hot, runway to real way type of deal, right? But also like, why does it work for our bodies or not? I'm 5'9". Stephanie is 5'2". Not really, but
rude.
Okay, 5'5"-ish, a little bit, but talking about what works for our bodies is such a huge portion of it, because often I think people, see clothing and they kind of go, I don't know if it works for me or, whatever, but also just realizing that you can have fun with your clothing. And I love that we have the opportunity to inspire people with that. For us, it's all about looking, feeling, and staying fabulous, because we get to help you make life your runway.
Ooh, I love that so much, Liz. We are super excited about this week's episode. And all that means is that you have to come back and join us here on the Fab Lab on the Mocha Media Network. Make sure you catch us here after the break. Hello, and welcome back to the Fab Lab on the Mocha Media Network. My name is Stephanie J, and my co-host is
Liz Everett.
And we are so excited to have our panel of industry professionals here with us. And we are going to be talking about some amazing fashion industry things. But first, let's introduce our industry panelists. We are going to start with Annalise Delatorre, who is a Tampa-based fashion influencer and boutique owner. Annalise, thank you so much for being on tonight.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be amongst you beautiful ladies.
We are so happy that you were able to join us tonight. And also we have Genesis Fernandez, who is a celebrity personal shopper and curve model. Genesis, thank you for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you so much to you guys.
Liz, tell us what we can expect today as we go through our industry talks as well.
Well, we're so excited to have our Fab Lab analyst with us today on the Fab Lab. So you guys know we're going to get all into it. Some fashion and celebrity headlines and giving you the insider scoop. And basically you get to go along with us on this Fab panel. So we're going to start with our first topic, which is Angelina Jolie's kids borrowing from her on the red carpet. I am so excited. This eternal Gucci girl, or this eternal Versace girl, really looked fabulous, but her kids stole the show. Stephani, tell us a little bit more about this subject before we go to our panel.
What I really love about this is that her daughters, her two oldest daughters, borrowed pieces from her wardrobe that she had already previously worn, an Elie Saab Haute Couture from 2014, and then a Gabriella Hearst outfit that Shiloh wore. And I just love the sustainability of it all. I love that she's sharing these moments with her children on the runway. And it's a super awesome moment for all of them. What do you think?
I love it. Personally, I'm obsessed with her dress. Of course, she is forever Versace, right? And I mean, the dress is phenomenal, but she really is reinforcing the idea of sustainability, which, you know, that red carpet is a perfect place to do that. So Annalise, what do you think about this phenomenal statement that these beautiful girls made?
I absolutely love the idea of how it embodies, you know, the idea of, you know, reincarnating a look. And they look so chic and so clean, and the way they had the neutrals that are so in right now. I love it. Absolutely love it.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a fabulous color schemed family photo shoot almost, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I think it's super cute.
Oh, I'm glad that you feel that. I feel like everybody on the panel is on the same wavelength. Genesis, what were your thoughts about like the whole style? Did you think that as a whole they looked super cohesive on the runway, or what were your thoughts just in general?
I think after the year we've had during this pandemic, I think that it's so good to see family members come together. And I think that it's great that she didn't just find some guy to go with or didn't go by herself. She chose that moment to share it with her kids. And I think that's amazing. And the fact that they're able to wear those dresses, it's great. And I relate to it because me and my mom actually wear the same size. So if we can interchange and collect clothes together, it's great.
I love that. Liz and I always talk about, you know, our glory days when we could share clothes, and we always wish that the only thing that would have been better is if we were the same size shoe. So just recently we were together with one of our good friends, Jessie, and Jessie and I are the same size. And Liz was like, I hate you guys.
I was so mad.
She was devastated. So I definitely understand like being able to share that with somebody that you super care about. So I love that moment. And speaking of red carpet moments, let's talk a little bit about La Roche and Jamie Sheeha. And they're enlivening this street style using vintage looks. Liz, tell us a little bit more about this. Listen,
When does La Roche not get it right? I mean, Law's ability to translate looks. I mean, he is known as an image architect, but you'll notice that his clients hit it out of the park every single time. He really gives people a fashion experience, if you will. And one of the things that he said was he loved that Jamie had a love of vintage, which again is another place that you see people giving kind of a foreshadowing of how to do sustainability. So being able to do luxury resale, to find vintage treasures and to kind of keep that memory alive, but to also elevate. I actually went over to her Instagram and I saw her in to say it was fabulous is just an understatement. And this, you know, old school Jean-Paul Gaultier. And she also was wearing this fabulous vintage Versace at Milan Fashion Week. They just finished hitting it out of the park at the Big Four, and they really elevated and reinvented and brought back in, like it gave you this good like street style gumbo, which is great. She's also on the reality show Bling Empire, and really culturally really elevating street style is something that her culture does so beautifully as well. So I love it. I am 2 hands up, so into it. And I am a huge fan of La Roche, the image architect, darling, as well. I mean, he also does like Celine Dion. Like, come on.
Yes. First of all, I love the phrase image architect. Like, come on, like, that's amazing. I love that. I love the sustainability. I keep coming back to this idea of sustainability when it comes to fashion. And we see a lot of celebrities and with their stylists trying to do more vintage pieces, but it seems like they're all coming from like the same three collections. We're just recycling the same look after look after look. And Law just took it, like you said, knocked it out of the park, came up with 4, 5, 6 different style outfits that really embodied her personality. And what I really loved is that when it comes to a lot of celebrities, the clothing comes secondary to whatever the project is. And with Jamie, it's the clothing first. It really needs to embody who she is and what she stands for before it comes to the project. And I just love that idea. And that vintage really allows for that expression of true personal style. Annalise, how are you feeling about La Roche, about the use of vintage and how they used it on the red carpet?
Honestly, I am obsessed with La Roche. Like, I follow a lot of his looks, the way he has a way of almost presenting everything with a new set of eyes every single time. A vintage item, it could be one thing that's singular and it just comes out just spectacular every single time.
Yes, he really is an architect. I mean, every time you look at someone that he does, because he also does Zendaya, who just won the Fashion Icon Award for the CFDA. There's a reason that she's the youngest one, Genesis, you're right there in New York City. What are the streets in New York City saying about Law?
I mean, everybody is a lover of vintage. Everyone's thrifting. I don't think I know anybody who hasn't been to a thrift store in the last month. So it's really trendy now. However, I do want to say that I'm kind of iffy on it. I feel like if you can be innovative and create a new trend, you should do it. And even though it's great to do vintage because of its sustainability, I want to see it done in a different way. And I think they do that very, very well, but not everybody does.
I love that perspective. And thank you for sharing that with us. It's definitely things are always changing. Things are always being inventive. And when we are creatives, like you said, it's always nice to see old things done in a new way or new things done in a new way. So I love that perspective. Thank you for sharing that. And speaking of sustainability, we're moving on. Guys, when I saw this headline, I was like, we have to talk about this because anybody who waits in the bathroom for 2 hours to gate crash a show deserves highlights also. Also, I want to talk about it. So green activists hid in the Louvre, well, that's a tongue twister in and of itself, before gate crashing the Louis Vuitton show. She hid for 2 hours, guys. That's dedication, right? And then I watched the video because I was interested. I was like, I want to see what this looks like, right? And I expected that security would like tackle her right away. She walked down the runway for a full 24 seconds before they tackled her. And I was like, wait, was Louis Vuitton in on this? Like, that got me thinking, like, if they let her walk for 24 seconds, was the reaction time just that slow? Or like, did they need the publicity? I don't know. Liz, what do you think?
I'm thinking that they honestly, because you got to realize brands put a minimum when they do a huge show like that. It's a minimum of about $250,000, right? And that's in New York. So I can't imagine what they're paying, in other places. My thought process would be that they probably had to think strategically about how not to obstruct the show. Because what are they going to do? Start the show over? Like, that's not going to happen. So they would have had to think, how do we like remove her, easily. And honestly, 24 seconds tells you what a brilliant team they have, that they were able to figure out how to get her to not obstruct the rest of the show. And that's also why you hire professional models who just kind of went on about their business. Like, I'm out here showcasing at the Louis Vuitton show. You are not going to mess up my career moment. Thank you and good night, ma'am. Right?
Literally.
Also,
literally.
she wasn't wrong about what she was protesting about. Good for her, but I just feel like there was another way to do it.
Absolutely. Genesis, what are your thoughts on the Lou stalker gatecrasher? What do you think?
Well, I actually do have a question. Do you think that protests actually work, or is it just like them losing resources? Because I know that during the pandemic, a lot of fashion houses had to cut down on production because there just wasn't any resource. And those who did have resources didn't have enough workers. However, you made a good point and said, did Louis Vuitton actually hire this person to do this? And perhaps that's a good way to look at it. But I think that maybe not. But however, they do use that to publicize their fashion show. So like, this negative thing happened, let's use it to push our brand.
Absolutely.
Well, they have to stay relevant. You're so right, because they have to stay relevant. And that is why you find celebrities and brands kind of being stunt queens, if you will, in a way. And so it's totally possible for sure. What do you think, Annalise?
I absolutely am just, when I look at the idea of it, I'm like, I totally agree that, 24 seconds or 20, however long it takes for them to strategize super fast and just try and be like, okay, well, hold on, this was not part of the show. And maybe that took a few minutes for them to realize that. I commend her too for having the ability to sit there that long and just wait in the loo. First of all, that's so cute. And and I totally agree with that concept. Like, there is a time and place for everything. I don't know if but I do agree though, it could be like some type of a strategy to bring more awareness. I mean, we had so many fashion shows this year, so many events, and this one is just going to be talked about for a while, that someone, hid in the bathroom for such a long time and, brought an awareness to something of a subject like that.
Absolutely. I think she would count herself successful. What do you think, Liz?
I definitely think she would. And honestly, for both the topic that she was bringing up and for Louis Vuitton, because they did get such a spin back from it, I think that both would consider themselves successful, in this spot. However, if I was a show director, I would be furious because, that person, the producer, they get hired for the show to be a certain way. You know what I mean? So I'd be frustrated, but then also excited that my show got seen a million times. So, there's room for both. I mean, and with the room for both, let's talk about denim jackets, because there's room for all different types of denim jackets. And we're making it happen this season. I'm so excited. Denim is always hot, in the fall, but this year it's seeming to have this resurgence of fabulosity, where you can kind of just remake things. And so one of the things that's being remade in lots of different colors and lots of different ways and styles and silhouettes is denim jackets. So I love that the oversized denim jacket is super hot this season and that it has so much personality, right? It's like amazing. In the article that we read, Amazon showed that like each one of the jackets had came in 5 colors, and being able to wear it on the shoulders, off the shoulders, all those different ways. It's just so great. But I would love to know from Annalise, what are your thoughts on the denim trend, and are you into oversized jackets?
You know what? I actually am embracing it. I've been such a fan for the crop and the fitted for the longest time. And now I'm just loving the idea of how versatile it is. And it comes in so many different, versions of it. Like, you've got some that have the sheared, you have some that are just clean cut. And, it's just a very versatile look, and I'm feeling it. I'm digging it personally.
Me too. I like to, well, Stephani and I both, we love to dress up our denim. We actually look for any reason to buy some appliques. We're have rhinestone appliques will travel type of people.
So yes, I love when people put patches and pins and their sorority letters. I think it's so cute and so adorable.
Yeah, we love it too. Steph, where are some of your favorite places to get things to dress up your denim jacket?
Well, you all know that Amazon is a great hub to get any type of applique, rhinestone, bling out, whatever your what I say creative du jour is feeling for that day. You can probably get it on Amazon, but also Liz and I like to source eBay because they always love to have some really great pieces as well. But personally, and most recently, I've been picking up either pins or appliques from places that I visited. So right now I am currently in Nashville for an internship. So I have a whole fashion-based jacket with all of the patches on it that I've gotten like in Nashville, and ones that I have from the Met that we got when we went to the camp exhibit. So I love just picking them up from places that I've been to because they all have like, a soft spot in my heart. Like, oh, I went to this place with my parents, or I went to this place when I went for my internship. So I love having like, it's almost like a discussion piece, and a piece of living art that I can like have a conversation with somebody about, not just I'm wearing a denim jacket. But I do love the oversized look. And there's some really great spots to get those denim jackets from. Liz, besides Amazon, where do you source your denim from?
Everywhere, from Bergdorf's to Rainbow. I just love denim jackets, and I love to do really artsy things with them. So, I recently started working on 2 new denim jackets, and a camo jacket as well for this season. And I'm using huge rhinestone pieces and, just really making some custom pieces, because I love denim, but I want different at the same time. So an oversized plain jacket is not necessarily my zhuzh, but an oversized jacket that's got like a rhinestone collar. Listen, I love a rhinestone. So, I'm definitely that girl. Genesis, what are you doing for your clients with oversized jackets? Are you selling or shopping for a lot of oversized denim at all? Or what are you seeing? While we're waiting for her to reconnect, Steph, what are you seeing in Nashville?
I'm seeing all kinds of different trends. I see a lot of the kind of like punk rock patch movement with jackets. I don't necessarily see a whole lot of like rhinestones and appliques as far as like sparkly sequined appliques, because I feel like that's more of a glam trend. And I don't want to say that Nashville isn't glamorous, but that's what makes it different. So like if you come to Nashville, wear your appliques and sparkle a lot because you'll stand out. One thing that I also see is a lot of the tourists that come to Nashville, because I work down there on Broadway during the weekend, is the rhinestone fringe seems to be really, really popular among some of the tourists that are coming into town. And I love a good fringe, and then add the fact that it's rhinestones. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Absolutely. All right, Genesis, what are you seeing in New York City?
Oh, I see a lot of denim jackets all the time. Light ones, dark ones, black ones. I saw this really long one actually that went down almost to her, right underneath her butt, and it had pearls all over it, and then she had her name embroidered in the back. It was actually really, really cute.
Girl, I need to know where she got that, because I'm
Got the
about
words.
that.
I think it might have been custom made because I've never seen anything like it before.
I love that. We're moving into Megan Fox. You guys, I cannot believe that her bag that she is carrying all over, that is hot and popping, is an $80 bag from Amazon. Stephani, tell us about this bag.
I mean, I need to order one in every color. First of all, I didn't need to see this article. I already have a spending problem. I did not need to see this. $80. I'm up literally every color, Liz. Anyway, I digress. This bag has a lot of really great features. It comes in a lot of different colors, like I've already mentioned. It's vegan leather. It's sourced from recycled plastic. It's got a faux suede with the magnetic closure. It's literally the bag of all bags. It's got that 90s shoulder bag trend that we're all loving. And it's also got this scrunch handle, so it looks super high end, but then you only paid $80 for it. So you could at least get 2, right? I mean, for what you would spend on a designer bag, you could at least get 2, right, Liz?
Absolutely. I love it. It reminds me a little bit of the dumpling bag. And, you know, that was a really hot trend last year. And it's now filtering into mainstream fashion right now. So I'm super excited about it. Annalise, are you a fan?
You know what? I honestly agree with Stephanie. I did not need to see this article because now I'm like, okay, now I need to buy and match with every color and only $80. I'm like, what can I get for 500? How many can I get for 500? The fact that there has been so many celebrities that have been spotted wearing it too. I totally agree with you on the structure. The structure is beautiful. The way that it has the scrunch handle, but then the inverse lines just give this like super glam. I'm not $80 look. As I'm walking down the street, I can see myself already.
Yes, Genesis, how are you feeling about this bag trend?
I love bags like this because they're trendy and they're very inexpensive. The last thing you want to do is spend thousands on a trendy designer bag that looks terrible in 2 years and you can't resell it. You can't get your money back. And so your cost per wear is really high and that's not sustainable either. So you buy this bag, you can wear it 10 times, let's say. That's only $8 per wear and that's pretty good.
I love that. Only a celebrity shopper would give us a cost per wear. Come on, Genesis, and school us, sis. I
gotta get your investment.
I love it. It truly is an investment, and I think a lot of people forget about that. You know, I have a client who she walked me into her closet one time, and she was like, "You know why I buy all these designer bags?" And I was like, "Why?" And she was like, "Because at any given time, the resale value, if I need 20 G's, I have it right here. All of these are insured. You know, I can sell them right away." And thinking about your cost per wear and also thinking about your resale value is always so imperative. But when you have a cool little cute $80 bag, you know what I mean, that you can throw on, it's great cost per wear. And it also, you know, you can get lots of different colors. And I don't know about you guys, but, you know, as a little bit of a fashion diva, I need all the things. Like, I want it all.
Literal same. And then my husband's probably downstairs going, "No, you don't need any more bags. Stop it." But that will bring me into our final topic for the evening. So, New York Fashion Week, spring, summer 22, waiting for the main event was the main event. How do we feel about this, Liz? Do you think that is accurate?
Yes and no. I think we are so spoiled when it comes to New York Fashion Week, to basically everything having sparklers and fireworks and that we at some points we're kind of waiting for the next best thing. And so many best things were happening at the same time. We had Laquan Smith at the Empire State Building. Your boy shut the Empire State Building down. You know, people are building these fabulous experiences. We had Moulin Rouge, you know, one of the shows was that theme and had the whole, and people are building these phenomenal designer experiences. And so all of those experiences really were super great. Now, of course, like any other fashion week and any other event, you had some that were like hit it out of the park, you know, like Sergio Hudson, when does he not hit it out of the park, right? And Proenza, like it was fabulous. People are building great experiences. You and I went to Chooks Collins, the Sunken Living Room. You talk about decadent, it was decadent and it was life-changing, honestly. But I think we spent so much time trying to wait on the main event that we didn't necessarily enjoy all of the main events that there really were. Genesis, what are your thoughts about this?
I mean, I did not attend any New York Fashion Week shows this season, but I did watch one in particular that was my absolute favorite, and it was Christian Dior Men's for Summer 22. It was with his collaboration with Travis Scott, which is, you know, Kylie Jenner's baby daddy ×2. And so not only did her fans check in because of him, his fans check in, and Dior fanatics also watched it. So I think that when we use fashion brands and celebrity figures or influencers, we can all come together to enjoy a really good show. Also, their set design was amazing. Their designs were very innovative and cool and different. But did I go in person? Not to any shows at all.
So I think you bring up all of the intricate pieces, right? Like I think what people forget is a lot of times when that celebrity is sitting on the front row, it's not necessarily just because they're best friends with a designer or whatever. They probably got paid to be there, right? And paid to wear the designer's garments, because all of that is the designer's like PR. And those are kind of the like background things that we forget. So you bringing up the fabulous set design, brilliant collaboration. Also, Travis is a real fashion person. Like he really loves fashion. He goes out of his way to like connect, with designers and wear new things. So I personally loved that show as well. And I love that you're looking at all the different angles. Annalise, how are you feeling?
You know what? I went out there as well. And I know exactly what they're talking about in this article. I mean, just the fact that it was on your edge. And I think it was a 2-year buildup of this hiatus of not having in person, that we're just like, what's next? Now what's next? And we just, it's like a child at a birthday party. I mean, I opened this present, now I want to open the next one and not enjoy the present I just opened. It was so exciting. One of the big people that I really enjoyed watching was Raul Lopez. His streetwear, shut it down. Loved everything he had to offer. I was just like, wow, where do I find this? Where can I buy this? Absolutely stunning.
Yes, there are a lot of different brands that showed out in a lot of different ways with super creative ideas. We love to see the creativity from Kalina Estrada to Telfar. They had some really innovative designs, really, just creative, off the chart things that it was, really a wonder to behold as a creative and somebody in the fashion industry, to see how they are reinventing fashion and fashion shows as the world evolves and changes, because we've been through this, pandemic, and we're coming out on the other side of it, even though things are still going on. And it's showing how diverse and how strong people are. Like, how can we push through this? How can we make it better so that people want to continue to support our brands, but also show how tough as nails we are in the creative industry. So it shows stick-to-itiveness, and I really enjoyed all of the things that New York Fashion Week and all of the fashion weeks had to offer. We want to thank you, ladies, for being on with us tonight. We really enjoyed having these panel discussions with our fashion industry analysts. Annalise, thank you so much. Where can people find you?
You can find me at Annalise Sofia Delator at all, social media platforms.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Annalise. And Genesis, where can people follow you?
On all social media platforms at iamgenesis.nyc.
We appreciate you ladies so much for taking the time to be with us tonight. Right, Liz?
Absolutely. You guys were amazing. And I personally just loved all of the different ways that you guys analyze things, our Fab Lab analysts.
Thank you so much for being on with us, ladies, and stay tuned, and we will be back right after this break.
Welcome back, Fab Fashionistas. I'm Liz Everett.
And I'm Stephanie J.
We are so excited for this week's Industry Insider interview. It is our very phenomenal and fabulous friend, Elliot Carlisle. We are so excited to have you, Elliot.
Oh, thank you, Liz. It is always a pleasure to be with you and Stephanie. I just get excited every time I hear from you with any type of request. I would love to be a part. I'm always supporting you. And so it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Now, listen, we got to brag on you for 1 second, friend, because our boy, Stephanie, you got your book, girl, because I got my book.
Oh,
we read it. Ours is autographed, the whole thing. We have the influence workbook. I'm waiting on the next book and the book after that, right? So our friend is the brand. He's the voice, okay? Period.com. How you feeling? he is the next king of fashion. I mean, I keep saying it all the time. You might as well go ahead and trademark that, Elliot. And not only does he really work on influential strategy, but also brand. You have a really great foothold in the fashion industry. And you are also the coordinator for CFDA Connects, which, I mean, come on, be young and Black and doing the thing with your melanated self, sir. You know, tell us how you got started and a little bit about what your real passion is.
Oh man, wow, how did I get started? I I've always wanted to be a business person. Like I just say a business person because when I started in my career, and even before that, when I think of when I was a young guy, young kid, and just wanting to do something different with my life, and I was really inspired by business people. I don't know why. I can't tell you if there was a particular person that inspired me, because my career before fashion, or my pursuit and interest before fashion, was music. But I went through a little depression, I guess you could say, my second year, my music scholarship. I went to school for musical performance and vocal theater, and musical theater and vocal performance, actually. And my second year, it just didn't do it for me. What music did for other people, or the music that I was doing, rather, and the performing that I was doing, the way that other people responded to it, the way that it resonated with them, the way that they seemed to be inspired, it wasn't doing that for me anymore. And I just realized I want to do something else. And so in my school at the time, I had taken a business class. It was just an elective, and I was really, really, really turned on by this class. I actually had a professor who owned a retail store, and she knew a lot about the fashion business, the fashion industry, of course, from the retail side. And she talked to me about market and the apparel mart in Atlanta, and going to Magic and all these different things that I know of now. I had no clue about any of that then. And I had done a project where we had to do a business plan for something that she felt was outside of our comfort zone, our realm of consciousness. And so she assigned me to do a business plan for a fashion magazine. And that project was one of the most inspiring projects that I've ever worked on. And I just realized that I connected with this project in a way, or I connected with fashion through this project in a way that I had never considered before. And it was actually my professor that said to me, I think the way that you've executed this project, I think that there's something there, and I think you should pursue it. But it did resonate with me in the way that I always knew that I wanted to do business. I just saw, and when I say that, I saw myself in a suit, in a desk. I mean, well, not in a desk, but at a desk in an office. That's basically the way that I saw it. I didn't want to work retail. I remember in high school, my friends working retail jobs or fast food or things like that. And I never saw that for myself. I said, I want to put on a suit because I like to dress. And that was the way that I dressed, actually, in my teenage years. I didn't wear jeans, and I've never owned a pair of Jordans. I didn't really wear sneakers and things like that. I wore Stacey Adams and dress pants and shirt and tie and jackets and blazers to school. So for me, it's really funny when I look back on it, but I just knew that I was ready for something different, and I positioned myself for it. And so I volunteered to come to New York Fashion Week as a volunteer, and I was hired as a production captain, and that was the years of Fashion Week at Lincoln Center. And that's how I got my start in the industry. And then from there, I went into public relations and I think that's where I met you, Liz, when I was doing PR, and from there into creative direction. And then I went back to school in 2012 to get my degree. I actually went to the Art Institute of Charleston. I got my BFA in fashion marketing and retail management, and finished that in 2015, and did a few different consulting and PR gigs, and just trying to figure out that space, because, when you graduate, you think you'll get that piece of paper and then go right into the next thing, but that was not my story. And so, just traveling along that trajectory by faith, and ended up here in New York in 2017, working for Fern Malice, who you all know is the creator of New York Fashion Week, and did that until 2020, July of 2020, and then started consulting full time, a number of reasons for that, and ended up being tapped by the CFDA to coordinate and plan and direct the CFDA Connects program that now supports 12 regional fashion weeks from around America. And so, it's a really interesting journey, but it really does all flow. And there's so many divine synergies in my story. And I'm very grateful for the journey that I've had. It has not been easy, but I'm very grateful. And to have relationships, lasting relationships with people like yourself that I met, when I was really getting started or still figuring it out, although it looked very professional, but I still didn't always know what I was doing. And so I'm glad to be here. These moments always remind me of why I started. So thank you again for having me.
We're so happy to have you, as I'm over here, like already sobbing.
Don't do that, y'all. Don't do that to me.
Hearing your story is so just inspiring, one, especially for someone like myself who is really just starting on their journey. So to hear like where you started and how far you've come, like based on your work ethic and all of the things that you've done throughout your career.
Yeah.
And the divine intervention, of course, because we'd never be in the spaces that we are right now without God. But
Stephanie, I have to say to you, I think that we often all in our lives try to avoid loss. We try to avoid loss, and we try to avoid the space of I don't know and the spaces of the unknown. And that's why programming, we fear what we don't know. In my life, I haven't had a choice. The space of the unknown has been forced upon me, and so I've had to take that and make something out of it. And I believe, just you said something so key, your faith, your belief system. I've just always believed that no matter where I am, God's got me. And I've been in some very, very, very low places. But the thing that I have to always remember is that when I'm there, it's not the first time. It's like I've been here before. And I think we always feel like, oh God, not again. I got to start over. But you never really are starting over, because no matter what place you get to, you're able to borrow from that place. And so for me, every place I've been in my career, when I felt like I was at a place of lack or I didn't have, I go back to the fact that I made a decision to drop out of a full music scholarship. Like that was a decision I made. I didn't fail out. I wasn't put out of the program. I decided this was not for me. Now, I didn't know what was, but I knew that this was not for me. And so I made that decision, and it literally was entering the space of, I don't know, but I positioned myself there because I do believe that what you are looking for is looking for you. I say it all the time. What you are looking for is looking for you, but it's not going all over the place to find you. It's going to meet you in a certain place and space. And so I believe that when you make those kinds of decisions, you really are showing up for yourself in a way that you may not be conscious of, and you may not see it until you get to the next place, but you'll be able to look back and chart your course. You'll be able to look back and connect those dots, as I talk about in my book. You'll connect those dots and you'll see the picture that you were drawing the entire time that you didn't know that you were drawing. My best friend says it this way concerning me: you were building your brand before you knew you were building your brand. People look at me now as the brand, the voice. I never started out to do this. Never did I think I would have a website and have, this logo. And I never, it took me 7 years of doing my career before I even got a website. People were like, oh, you don't have this and you don't have that. I didn't think that I needed it because that wasn't what I was building, but I ended up having to do that because of my trajectory. My story isn't the one that, I applied here and then they hired me and then I applied here and then I was promoted there. That wasn't my story. And so I had to live. And so I had to make a career so that I could eat, and that's why I had to build a personal brand. But I just thought I could navigate the corporate system, but it didn't work for me that way.
I just really hope I can get through the rest of this without utterly sobbing on camera.
I love you too. I do.
I just think so many people don't realize what people give up to be in their lane.
Yeah.
And I think when people look at you, they see the celebrities, they see all of what you're doing right now, but you served your way up. That's why you're so young at the CFDA. That's why people have so much respect for you. It's not just because you're good at what you do. You have a level of service and excellence about you, friend, that is just second to none. It pours off of you. You have an anointing for what you do. And I think that's why it was so important to share stories like yours and to interview people along the way, not just designers, but people who are all over the fashion industry and the realm, because
folks don't realize what you give up to do what you do. And they think that you're going to get paid for every little thing here and there, but you serve until it's time. And a lot of folks have lost that, but that is, what it is. For someone who's struggling, I would say, with whether or not, do I go and I'm not going to get paid for 2 years? Do I stop? What is your advice there? Because where you are, you serve to get there, and you have so much respect because people can smell the oil on you.
Thank you, Liz. Yeah, y'all are really trying to take me down, but I'm going to hold these because, it's not even that I can't sit here and even front and say that the way that I speak now, I've had this the entire time. And I have. The truth is I have, and the truth is we all do. It's not always in our realm of consciousness. And so for me, navigating places and spaces, I say it, places and spaces when you're unconscious, oh God, like it's the people that you're speaking of right now who are wondering, like, what do you do? That's the person, that's the place I believe that you're talking about when you're in that unconscious place of, well, what is this and how does this connect to anything? For me, the only thing that I've ever been able to hold on to in any of those places is purpose. Just knowing that, gosh, I'm not getting paid for this, or the pay that I am getting is really not enough to even, take care of my cell phone bill, let alone for me to eat or survive or any of that. But the reason why is because there's purpose in it. And I can look at, even though I may feel like this is a total loss for me, I can look at how effective I am in this place. I can look at the fruit that is there because of the seeds that I'm planting. I can look at the results that are there, the people that are being impacted, because we have to remember that money is not the only form of currency. And that consciousness for me is what has carried me, because there have been times when I've had to say, literally had to look in the mirror and say to myself, okay, you're getting paid from a different source. This is not monetary. This is a different type of currency. And so let that pay you, and then the money will come. Let that reward you, the money will come, because money gravitates to the spirit of wealth. And sometimes you just need this, because this is going to enhance your spirit. This is about your inner work. This is about your soul work. And so when it comes to your purpose, that comes from a different place, which is why the purpose is the only thing that can truly fulfill you. I don't care. There are people out here that can be making, $500,000, $600,000 a year on a job, but if it's not tied to their purpose, they're still going to feel like they're missing something, because purpose is the only thing that can fulfill you. So I am grateful that in my life, I can say that I've been very purpose driven, because that has been the focus that I've had, even when I didn't have sense enough to know that money could be tied to a thing, because sometimes it wasn't that I couldn't have been paid for some things that I even did, but I had just never seen it done where money was attached. And so, coming from where I come from, and it's funny that you mentioned servanthood, I grew up in church, and I as one who's ordained in ministry and who knows that world really well, I can serve. And one of the things, even with my coaching, my master coach had to say, you're going to have to learn, even with your coaching, that there's a difference between coaching and ministry. And, ministry may be for free, but coaching is not. And you have to make sure you draw the line. And it's really interesting because we have to learn that. But, when you're a person who just wants to help people, you want to give, and you want to pour, that's just what you do, because you have this infinite supply. You have this divine connection that you will never be without. People say to me all the time, you just get on the phone and you give away all type of information. I wouldn't be talking to people that long. You need to talk to people 20 minutes and then cut it off. You need to do this and then cut it off. But I don't ever feel like I need to do that, because at the end of the day, like, I'm not losing anything.
Hello, the Fab Lab viewers, and welcome back to the Mocha Media Network. My name is Stephanie J, and we are going to get into this back on the rack or ship it segment right away. We have 6 great looks, or not so great looks, depending on how you view them. And we're going to start with our first look. These looks are all based on what we've seen on the runway at different fashion weeks, and whether or not we would wear it in reality, right? So our first look is Alessandro Ambrosio in Otzi and Asta from Spring Summer 22 Ready to Wear. Liz, how are you feeling about this look?
Well, I love this particular designer. They always have clean, fabulous, fashion forward looks. And honestly, it is a ship it for me in every single color. I love how it accentuates the shoulders. It gives you a leg, a hip, the whole nine, and I am all about it.
I also love this look. The color combination is it for me. I'm not sure I'd want it in every color because some things make me very pale, but this color combination I am definitely here for. And this particular version, I am definitely a ship it as well. Which brings us to number 2, Kylie Jenner in custom Richard Quinn, spring, summer 22, ready to wear. How are we feeling?
Well, Richard Quinn does everything for the fashion it girls, honey. So I have to be honest, it's a back on the rack for me. However, I'm loving the gloves.
I love the look for her. I feel like she really, this kind of like embodies the fact that she's trying to make a statement, the fact that she's pregnant in this photo too. It just says, I go against the grain because I want to show my baby bump. I don't want to hide it. It's a back on the rack for me as well, because no, it's probably not for me. It looks great on her, but not for me. So I agree with you.
True. Not a great silhouette for us, but, could be great for other people. Next, we get into Zendaya in Loewe. Listen, I'm so here for it, but how are you feeling?
I love the look. Again, I love the look on her. First of all, Zendaya can do no wrong. La Roche has her in the most amazing pieces, and this one is no exception. I think she looks iconic in this. I think this will be a piece that we revisit 10 years from now, and we're like, oh, you remember when she wore Loewe in 2021? It was fabulous. From his 2022 ready to wear. Like, I think it will be something that we revisit later. I personally wouldn't wear it because she is very slender already, and it kind of gives her like curves in weird places. If that's happening on her silhouette, what is it gonna look like on me? So it's a back on the rack for me, but I love the garment for her. Like, it was a win for me. She would have been best dressed in that outfit if it had been, any big red carpet event. It was a big red carpet, but you know what I mean? It had been the Met Gala or Grammys or Emmys or any of those shows that she would have been in my best dress for sure. How about you? Back on the rack or ship it?
It's a back on the rack for me as well, for the same exact reasons: shape, silhouette, proportion. I think that's something that, especially because you and I have wider shoulders, we have like a very similar body build, but I'm taller and you're a little bit shorter. So we have the same concerns, and really fit is a definite concern, and making sure that you really create a curve to keep that femininity is really important. So having things that obstruct that silhouette is like a definite no-no when you have to kind of build in that S curve, as they call it. So it's a back on the rack for me, but not because I don't love it. I think this is a look that would go to a museum, So, back on the rack, but not because I don't love it.
Same. So that moves us on to Dakota Johnson in Rodarte, spring, summer 22, ready to wear. I love this look, but not in this color. If it were a different color, maybe a red or even like a beautiful royal purple, I think that this would have been a ship it for me. Any other color, but any cream based, light pink, it's a back on the rack for me. How are you feeling?
I would say that I would wear it in this color, the cream, and I would wear it in black. For me, it would probably have to be belted. Again, it's all about building it in shape and building in proportion. But on Dakota, I love it, right? Because I love how strong and lean her leg looks. I love that it really honors her hip. It looks like they did a little bit of a higher slit for her, really to hit her thigh at just the right point. And I love that it looks so feminine and flowing on her. I actually like it better on her than I do the model. So it's a definite win, I feel, for her. For me, it would be a ship it, but I'd ship it in this color and then I'd ship it in black for sure.
Well, look, you finally got to ship it in the bag, right?
Whew, it was hard today.
It really was, which leads me to my next one, which I feel like is probably the most controversial on our looks today. We've got Cardi B in Richard Quinn, spring, summer 22, ready to wear. What are your thoughts? How are you feeling?
I mean, first of all, Cardi killed it at Paris Fashion Week the
Yes, she did.
entire time. This is a back on the rack for me, but because I'm accident prone and don't want to die. And I am telling you right now, as you already know, that I would leave the jacket either on the bed, something would be over it, and then I would lay down and die because, you know, it like went into my head or something like that. Or I would step on it, it would go straight through my like foot and I'd need a tetanus shot. So back on the rack, but not because I don't love it.
Well, now that you've said that, I'm thinking about my life as well, because it was definitely going to be a ship it for me because, you know, I love leather. I love studs. I love a rock and roll vibe. And it's belted in just the right way to give that, because, you know, Cardi B is all about showing off that figure. It's belted in the right way that just hugs the curves and makes her look so feminine while also being so masculine, the look being so masculine. And you know, I love a masculine look. So I was thinking that it was going to be a ship it, but now, like, because I might die, like, do they move? That's what I have questions now. Do the spikes move with you? So I have questions. If they don't move, then it's a back on the rack. If they do move, then I'm going to ship it to me, please. I love the look, which moves us on to our last look. Dua Lipa in Loire, spring, summer 22, ready to wear. Thoughts
About it. Love it. I think that the runway look is fabulous. And I think that Dua's look with it is fabulous as well. And it would be a ship it for me. For sure. I also think this is the type of jacket, the type of outerwear that people could do across body types. People can do, you know, across, you know, different sizes, you know, as well, and just look really put together, because a huge part of clothing is that look and that feel. And Raul does a great job. He's the main designer for this particular brand, and he kills it every time.
I also really love this. It would be a ship it for me, probably in the runway look and also Dua Lipa's look. I like how she put her own spin on it. And this is a perfect example of how we can take runway to real life. We're taking those inspirations that we see on the runway, taking pieces that we really like, and then putting our own spin on personal style. So I love that she did that. I love both looks. Definitely a ship it for me. And these 6 looks today, they were really good. And it was really hard to decide whether you would want it personally or whether you love the look, but it wasn't for you kind of situation. So I thought that these were really great looks. What do you think, Liz?
I love them. And I think all of them are great on the person that wore them. But, you know, when you're thinking about how you wear things, it can be a little bit different because you have to consider your body type. You have to consider your particular proportions and the things that you love about your body and the things that you maybe want to conceal because you're not as comfortable, you know, with your body. So I love this particular segment even because I just think it's so cool to be open to talk about what works and to help you guys, our Fab Lab viewers, know that you have options when you're getting dressed.
Absolutely. It's our goal here on the Fab Lab to help you look, feel, and stay fabulous and make life your runway. My name is Stephanie J, and this is my co-host,
Liz Everett.
We've had such an amazing time with you today on the show, from our industry professionals panel, our Fab Lab analysts, if you will, to our interview with Elliot Carlisle. Liz, what was your favorite part?
Well, every single moment, honestly, Stephanie, because we have such a fun time here on the show and we get to connect with you, our Fab Fashionistas. We hope that you'll join us next week, and we hope you loved every single minute of the show today. Make sure you're following us on all platforms at the Fab Lab. And we're excited because we get to be a part of your journey, and we love for you to look, feel, and stay fabulous. It's all about you making life your runway. Join us next week right here on the Fab Lab on Mocha Media Network.